The purpose of our meeting here today is to gather the leadership of the community to talk a little bit about the events of the past week, to put them in perspective and to point a way forward. We in New Bedford have talked about casinos for an awful long time, some 20 years, and there have been many proposals that have been bandied about over the years at the golf course, on the so-called standard times field on the waterfront, and then most recently, since the passage of the Expanded Gaming Act in Massachusetts, on various sites in the city, including on the NSTAR site as well as again on the golf course. It has casinos in the collective mindset of the community have often been seen as a panacea for an industrial city that has been looking for opportunities, new opportunities for a long time. Although the city has experienced tremendous success and diversifying its economy of late, there's still a number of folks in the community who really have hung their hopes on the prospect of a casino here in the city, especially with all the jobs associated with it. We worked hard to get a project lined up. It was a good project, and we are, I say this, I think this is true even of the folks who didn't vote to approve the host community agreement in our referendum. We're really disappointed. We're disappointed that we had an opportunity to grow a significant number of jobs all in one site, to generate significant economic activity that would spin off and create other benefits in the community, and to clean up a major brownfield site in the middle of our waterfront. We're disappointed, and candidly, we are very disappointed that we were led down the road to believe that it was all in place, that financing would be ready and available for this project to be built, funds sufficient to build this building were all in place. And so we can't help, and it really bears noting at this point. I mean, we've said this over the last couple of days, but it bears noting that we felt like we've been led down the primrose path. And we have a headline in the newspaper just 1 month ago, casino cash all set. It was everybody. It was city government, it was the community, it was the media, that all were led to believe by KG Urban's CEO that this was something that was ready to go. And so we are disappointed about that. And we're not going to, the purpose of this press conference isn't to say, well, geez, we're, it isn't to cast all of our anger in one direction, to say that we've been victimized. It's not that. It's to put it in perspective. This community acquitted itself very, very well in this process. It engaged in a very deliberate negotiation for a host community agreement, the very best host community agreement in this state. Its citizens went about the business of examining that host community agreement, expressing their views in several public fora, and then getting out and supporting that proposal when it came before them at the ballot box. And so I am very proud of the work of the city. We did a great job negotiating this thing, and it's not going to work out, unfortunately. We, at this point, have to address what I think is something that we've started to hear both from citizens as well as even some elected officials. And that's this. It is very tempting to say, New Bedford got screwed. It is very tempting to say this always happens to us. It is tempting to say, you know what, there we go again. It's one thing after another. Every time we try to do a big project, somebody has it out for us, and we fail. That, to my mind, is not where this community needs to be. It isn't where our future lies, and frankly, we have to avoid that temptation. Fatalism is a much easier way to live your life because it requires very little. You don't need to stretch yourself. You don't need to try hard to change your future. You can just sit back and let the world do things to you. That's not the way this community can be. We're not a community, we cannot be a community that says, you know what, it's easier just to say at the end of the day, I told you so. We're not going to be one of these communities. This community will not be a victim, and it cannot be a victim. We will not wallow in self-pity. We will take our future into our own hands as we must, and make it our own, because that's the way we will get ahead in the world. That's the way the city will become vibrant. That's the way the city will thrive in the long run. And the good news is that when you look at it, again, the city performed very well. I suspect I defy anybody to look around the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and say there wasn't a community more engaged, more demanding of a casino proposal than this one that gave it a lot of thought, and one that followed through on its best instincts. This was a great opportunity, but when you get right down to it, it wasn't the savior of the city that some folks might hope to have been. So what now? Well, as it turns out, this city has not been, under my administration, flat-footed. We have plans in place, and you'll hear a little bit of, you'll be reminded of those plans in a moment. The city has spent a great deal of time focusing on its assets and what it will take to make this a city that can stand on its own 2 feet in the long run. We spent over the better of the last couple of years working and implementing and spreading the word about the Bedford regeneration report. And that's something that, again, I pulled it up because this has been the city's plan for some time now, and it bears reminding everybody that this is a sound plan that was produced by the business leadership and general leadership of this community. Folks spent a lot of time working on this. It is a sound plan. It's being implemented, has been implemented over the last year and will continue to be. And it's something that we're open to public comment and really have a roadmap here that we're continuing to drive. If we look through this, we don't see in here hopes cast on big one-time projects. We don't see casino in here mentioned anywhere, and there's a reason for that. The reason is that sound plans to build a sustainable local economy, it requires patience, it requires a lot of planning, and it doesn't happen overnight. And so the expectation shouldn't be that it's going to be one project that does it for the city. When we have opportunities, we go for it. And the casino, if it makes sense and if it's in keeping with those plans. But it doesn't mean that you hang all your hopes on them. The casino here in New Bedford was, at bottom, a means to an end. It was not an end in itself. We were never trying to build a casino-based economy here. Rather, what we're trying to do is to use a casino as a good source of jobs, but really as a way of accelerating all the things that our plans focus on and those things that we're doing well. So as you walk around the city, there's no denying that things are on the upward trajectory. According to the Massachusetts Department of Labor, there's been a growth of some 5,000 jobs in the last 4 years in the city. That is a staggering number that a city that has a workforce of some 45,000 people, 45,000 jobs. There has been rapid growth here, rapid sustained growth in every sector. And there are many reasons for that, but it's happening all over the place. And it's because New Bedford has been seen as a good place to do business. New Bedford has been seen correctly as a place that has real assets, a place where businesses can gain an economic advantage and hire good people. Look around the port. Cargo has doubled in the last year. We're working on making it grow more still. You look at our fishing industry, which remains the top in the entire United States. Things, and beyond the port, beyond economic growth, you see crime has been on a steady downward trajectory over the last few years. There are fewer dropouts now in the school system than there have been in the last 15 years. The city is progressing along all fronts, and you can look at the data and say, you know what, the data says a lot, tells a lot of the story, Well, what I would suggest to people is to go beyond that, walk downtown, take a look around, go down to the waterfront tonight for a waterfront concert, and feel the vitality of the city. It didn't exist a long time, not even a long time, a very short time ago. The city really is picking up, and so we don't want this setback to be seen as the complete narrative. It isn't. It is a bump in the road, and that we're going to get over it. Let me talk a little bit about the site itself. So we have been working for some time on a waterfront planning study coming right out of our set of plans. We're following this blueprint, and that site has been one of the plans. The site has been part of the waterfront review since it started some months ago. The NSTAR site is an important site. It's obviously occupied. It still is still a place that has a high number of employees. NSTAR's been there, and its predecessor companies have been there for well over 100 years. But we do know that that site is underutilized. Because the power plant doesn't generate power anymore. There's plenty of space on that site for other things to happen. And now with KG's backing out of its proposal, the options that KG held on that site will expire soon. So there's an opportunity now for us to do something about it. So what are we going to do about it? Well, we're going to build on the current waterfront plans that are already underway, but we're also going to assemble an advisory group of business people who will take a look at that site and start the long-term planning of that site, because we need to start that discussion soon. That site can be a lot of things. It can be the place where the downtown transits into the industrial area to the south. It can happen in 100 different ways. But we do need to plan on it. There needs to be a longer discussion and then start and state about how that's going to happen. So again, we're not sitting flat-footed. We're not waiting by us, hoping things will happen to us. We're taking action in our own way, and we're doing it based on the plans that we have. One of the things that I really want to emphasize, again, about plans. The plans have been well thought out. We're driving them now. They make a lot of sense. And the group of people up here, most of whom have been involved in the formation of those plans. Sometimes when opportunities arise, you've got to go for it. And knowing that you might not succeed all the time. We're winning right now. New Bedford is winning right now by singles and doubles. It's the businesses springing up in the downtown. The 2 ribbon cuttings this week. We're doing more in the coming weeks. There's expansion in the industrial park. There's expansion in the port. Real estate values are climbing now after lagging for a long, long time. Things are looking up because we're doing the little things day in and day out. And that's the way you have to do it. But sometimes it's worth swinging for the fences. And when there are opportunities to do something that involves a big project that is consistent with the plans that we have in place, you've got to go for it. As we all know, there's no guarantees in life. There's no saying, well, and here in Bedford, we're never going to be a place that says we're not going to try. We will try. And just because this one failed doesn't mean that we're going to say, you know, like we're going to say, no, we shouldn't stick our necks out. Because when it makes sense to go for it, we'll go for it. Whatever the risk, if it makes sense on solid economic grounds and it's consistent with the community's objectives, we'll go for it. Knowing that there are no guarantees, but knowing also that if we thought it out well, we'll have a good chance of making things happen. So we are making things happen, and I will call upon now the leadership in the community to say a few words from their own perspectives about what happened. And we'll take a few questions, but I do want people to know this. This city is not going to say, woe is us. The city is not going to say, allow itself to be a victim. The city is going to take its own destiny in its hands and make the most of it, because we have an awful lot of cards to play. New Bedford has real assets, and we're going to continue to drive it. And as long as we do that, we will continue to see the progress that we've seen over the last couple of years.